Imagine you have the power to save any life, but an authoritarian regime is holding a gun to your head. They aren't interested in your skills as a healer. They want you to choose who lives and who dies, based solely on their political agenda. This is the daily reality for Park Hoon, the protagonist of the medical thriller Dr. Stranger. He is a thoracic surgeon with almost supernatural ability, but his talent was cultivated in the shadows of North Korea, after he was kidnapped and raised within its borders. This map shows the physical and political cage that defines his world. The demarcation line and the demilitarized zone represent an impenetrable barrier between the North and the South, turning the entire peninsula into a chessboard, where his life is a mere pawn. The problem is that crossing a line on a map doesn't lead to freedom. To the rival governments on both sides, Park Hoon's surgical genius is a rare commodity to be exploited, a political weapon wrapped in a white coat. This story serves as a high-stakes stress test for human morality. It forces us to ask if a person can maintain their integrity when they are caught in the gears of two opposing geopolitical machines. In the North, Park Hoon's medical training is a product of state mandate. Every surgery is performed under the watchful eyes of the regime's leaders, whose portraits hang in every hall to remind everyone that the state is the only true authority. In this environment, medicine is a tool of control. Saving a life is a privilege granted only to those with proven party loyalty or strategic value, forcing Park Hoon to participate in horrific moral compromises just to keep himself alive. The regime works to strip away his human empathy, attempting to mold him into a brilliant but cold operator who views patients as biological machines to be repaired for the glory of the state. His defection across this militarized threshold is a desperate attempt to reclaim his identity. He isn't just running toward the South. He is running away from a system that requires him to sign away his conscience with every incision. Authoritarian control isn't limited to restricting where you can walk. It targets the foundational ethics of a profession to ensure that even a doctor's hands belong to the state. When Park Hoon arrives in Seoul, the viewer expects a resolution. But the dense skyscrapers and corporate logos represent a different kind of pressure, a hyper-competitive capitalist healthcare system where profit is the primary driver. The literal guns of the North are gone, but they are replaced by hospital politics and corporate hierarchies. He finds that the elite in the South are just as eager to use his skills to settle personal scores and secure their own power. His surgical success rates are immediately commodified. Hospital factions treat his genius as a marketing asset, using his ability to perform impossible surgeries to attract funding and crush their professional rivals. The operating room becomes his only true sanctuary. It is the one place where he can block out the noise of northern spies and southern corporate saboteurs, using his scalpel as a shield to protect the person on the table from the world outside. While the North weaponized his skills for state control, the South weaponizes them for status and financial gain. This reveals that systemic corruption and ethical threats don't stop at the border. Park Hoon eventually stops trying to fit into the molds created by Pyongyang or Seoul. He realizes that as long as he defines his worth by the labels these systems give him, he will never truly be free. He stops looking for a country to save him and begins looking solely at the anatomy of the person on the operating table. He finds that a human heart has no nationality. It functions or fails the same way, regardless of the patient's political status. This recognition of a shared biological vulnerability becomes his new anchor. He sees that the biological needs of a patient are the only objective truth in a world of political fiction. By centering his entire identity on the act of healing, the artificial barriers of the state and the corporation begin to collapse. This singular focus becomes his protection. When external pressures try to manipulate him, his commitment to the patient acts as a buffer, allowing him to function with a sense of purpose that neither system can touch. Most of us will never have to defect across a minefield, but we all live in a world fractured by social and political dividing lines. We are constantly pressured to choose a side, but Park Hoon's story reminds us that our foundational moral choices remain entirely our own to protect. Our shared humanity is the one thing no government or corporation can truly own, unless we let them. If you found this analysis of the surgeon's dilemma interesting, consider subscribing and check out our next video breaking down more complex stories of survival and ethics.